News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks. President Trump is now reacting to reports of a manifesto written by the suspected shooter at last night's White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington, which is said to have reflected strong anti-government views.
The guy is a sick guy. When you read his manifesto, he hates Christians. That's one thing for sure. He hates Christians, a hatred. And I think his sister or his brother actually was complaining about it. You know, they were even complaining to law enforcement. So he was a very troubled guy.
Trump on Fox News. 31-year-old Cole Allen of California is now in custody and set to be arraigned on felony charges tomorrow. But those could be upgraded once we know more about his motive. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche tells CBS he'd been targeting members of the Trump administration.
The FBI worked all night working with local law enforcement, working with the Secret Service. They've executed various search warrants on locations, also on devices that were recovered from the suspect.
Authorities believe Allen had been staying at that hotel. On a lighter note, the president did say he plans to reschedule the event within the next 30 days, but security will still be a big concern. In fact, Republican Congressman Michael McCaul of Texas sits on the House Foreign Affairs and Homeland Security committees and tells Bloomberg that he was shocked the president and vice president were at the same table last night.
The next time the president shows up, I think they're going to tighten up security even more so. And again, the line of secession all being there at the same time, I think we had to take a look at that as well.
Representative McCall on Bloomberg this weekend. Our other big story today is Iran, and Iran's president is now saying that his nation won't negotiate under threats or blockade after the president canceled a planned trip by his top envoys in Pakistan. Trump telling Fox today that any future meeting will have to be by phone.
If they want, they can call us, but again, they know what has to be in the agreement. Very simple. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. Otherwise, there's no reason to meet.
Peace talks and a ceasefire between both countries are now in limbo. Republican Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina says he's prepared now to move ahead with the confirmation of Federal Reserve Chair nominee Kevin Warsh. He told NBC this morning that he made that decision after the Justice Department ended a criminal probe targeting current Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
If we had allowed this to occur, I think it would have had devastating consequences for our financial systems and the markets worldwide. Thank God we avoided that.
Tillis on NBC's Meet the Press. He holds a pivotal vote on the Senate Banking Committee, which has set a hearing for Warsh's confirmation on Wednesday. Markets are set to react to a rocky weekend, including those stalled talks in Iran, despite ending last week hitting all-time highs. Peter Cheer is head of macro strategy at Academy Securities.
It's really hard to figure out who's in charge in Iran, so I think that's a big issue. And it's really hard to figure out who's willing to make that first move. I think when we talk to our geopolitical intelligence group, the consensus view is that we will probably, to end this war, have to escalate once more to actually win. That we will have to go in, that we will have to fight, and we will have to put pressure on Iran. Trump seems reluctant to do that right now, but we don't really see winning any other way right now.
Academy Securities' Peter Cheer on Bloomberg TV. He says he's also concerned about gas, diesel, and spiking fertilizer prices that could ultimately start impacting jobs, specifically in tech. Bitcoin's in recovery mode and approaching $80,000 for the first time since January. But President Trump's renewed pledge to support the U.S. crypto industry's growth is falling short, even with his own meme coin in the mix. Bloomberg's Ed Kalegi explains.
The Trump meme coin fell 14% Saturday, even as the president addressed some of the token's biggest holders. During his closed-door remarks Saturday in Florida, Trump reiterated his support for a bill that aims to govern the industry. The 45-minute keynote speech also touched on topics such as artificial intelligence, the Iran war, and Trump-branded sneakers. Trump has embraced cryptocurrencies, and his family has broadly expanded its business portfolio to include digital assets, including a stablecoin and Bitcoin mining. Ed Kalegi, Bloomberg Radio.
A Federal Reserve interest rate decisions in focus in the week ahead. Bloomberg's Karen Moscow has a preview.
The Federal Open Market Committee wraps up a two-day meeting on Wednesday. Is expected to hold rates steady, and it'll be followed by a news conference with Fed Chair Jay Powell. We'll also get reports that day on U.S. housing starts and durable goods orders. Thursday, we get a look at first quarter GDP, personal income and spending, and the weekly report on initial jobless claims. We'll also get interest rate decisions from the European Central Bank and Bank of England. And Friday, a look at manufacturing from the Institute for Supply Management. Karen Moscow, Bloomberg Radio.
We should also get a ton of earnings reports this week from Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta, and Amazon, which combined are spending $650 billion in AI this year. Apple reports on Thursday, and the company's already warned that its costs are rising quickly amid supply chain disruptions from the war in Iran. There's also the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, which could impact quarterly reports from GM, Ford, ExxonMobil, and Chevron. And Sebastian Sawe of Kenya made history today at the London Marathon, becoming the first person to run a marathon in under 2 hours. Sawe smashed the men's world record in 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds today. His time was 65 seconds quicker than the previous best, set by fellow Kenyan runner Kelvin Kiptum in Chicago in 2023. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks, and this is Bloomberg.